Today I fucked up by Redmond Dtes. Today I fucked up by asking my friend out on a date, and now I've been blocked. I started working at a factory about a month after Jane started, just over 4 years ago. For about a year, we didn't talk much beyond what work required. I was still in a long-term relationship, so had no interest in anything more. Jane's mum Ann also worked at the factory, and I got to know her pretty soon as we often worked the same shift. My relationship ended due to long-term life goals and perspectives for me and my wife changing. It's a shame, but we are still on good terms. Over time, Jane and I figured out we had similar interests. I've been a gaming and book geek since I was a kid, and she was just getting into it all now that she was earning her own money. I helped her choose computer parts during meal breaks and made sure her custom keycaps were compatible with the keyboard she wanted. She started to open up about some crappy stuff growing up. She said she was an anxious avoidant. If she was finishing the night shift and I was starting days, she'd stay back 15 minutes just to talk. If we were on the same shift, we'd spend every spare second together. She started to give me a hug from time to time. I never initiated. I'm a big-ish guy. 186 centimeter, or 6'1", and by this point, had been promoted a couple of times, so was technically her supervisor. Jane's family eventually decided to move across the country. When I came back from some Army Reserve training, Jane was in her last week at the factory. She came running up, said how happy she was to see me, gave me a big hug, and said she'd miss me. We stood in the parking lot talking for a full hour after our shift, and invited me over for a goodbye dinner. When I mentioned I'd be in the nearby city in about 6 weeks visiting a college friend, Jane instantly said I should come visit, and Ann said the same when she came back in the room. In the following weeks, Jane and I played computer games for hours at a time, over 8 hours on Discord in one session. We'd message through the night while I was on night shift. When I visited and insisted I stay at their house, Jane showed me her books, manga, and figurines. We went through each other's playlists, stayed up late watching hours of a show I told her about. We went to her favorite bookshop and cafe, where she told me what pastry to try, and shared some of hers with me. When I left, she said next time we'd go to the vintage record store, because she knew I collect vinyls. Sitting on the coach back, I realized this weekend was the first time I'd been happy in a couple of months. Half a year later I was back. Partially to visit my college friend, mostly to visit Jane. I stayed at their house again. Jane and I spent basically the whole weekend together. Staying up late, talking about music, books, and figurines, playing card games, walking around shops. I spent the weekend trying to find a way to gently say that I would like to try dating. Eventually, just before leaving for the train station, I told her I liked spending time with her. I knew she was dealing with a lot, but I'd like to take her on a date next time I was over. I was happy to stay friends if she wasn't interested. She said there was a lot going on in her head. Could she have some time to think? I said sure. She gave me a hug goodbye at the station. A day later she removed me as a follower on TikTok. And a day after that, she blocked me on TikTok completely. TLDR. I've completely lost a good friend because I fucked up by asking her out rather than just being happy with being friends. Anxious avoidant anxiously avoided. You tried. She may come back around, but know that this is also part of who she is, and will come back to haunt you in 1,000 tiny ways, even if you do end up together. You are probably better off having learned this lesson. Just learn it. Still hurts losing a long-term friend though. Better this way, you'd constantly be what if-ing yourself on what could have been. If your friendship couldn't have survived this, it wasn't as good a friendship as you thought. Today I fucked up by giving the weird guy a chance. So, I was talking to this guy who was already giving weird vibes. Just a little strange, but nothing unbearable, right? So, he asks me on a date to the zoo, which I love, so we decide to go. From the beginning, we meet up at the zoo and walk up together. We are at the front, waiting in line for them to scan our tickets, when he points to a sign that says, "Private property, no weapons permitted." I ask him if he has a gun with him, and he says, "No. But I am the weapon." I roll my eyes, because how cringy. Then we get inside, start walking around, and we get to these animals called clip springers. They are these cute little brown things with little legs. He proceeds to say, "They are short and stubby, just like you." I literally just looked up and stared at him and said, "Are you joking?" But I still stayed on the date. I mainly stayed because I love the zoo and the entry fee was $35. Huge mistake. So then, we continue walking around, and after certain things happen, he says, "Trapaholics, whatever the hell that means." If anyone knows, I'd love to know what it means, lol. Then, it's a Saturday, so all the families are at the zoo, and there are children everywhere. And he looks over at me, sighs, and says, "I'm getting baby fever." I just kept looking straight, because who says that on a first date? The rest of the date goes kind of okay. We are leaving the zoo, and he mentions his ex. I don't say anything, because again, what the hell? Well then, the next set of events all happen within the 5-6 minute walk to the car. He mentions her again and says, if I saw my ex again, it would be over with. Like what? Again, this is a first date. Then, he says he was born at 19 years old. I asked him what the hell that means. He says, I was just born a lot older than I was. I was walking at 7 months old, and I'm just super intelligent. So, I roll my eyes and ask him, if he's so intelligent, why isn't he at Harvard or something, instead of working his very basic easy job? And he says it's because of family stuff. Finally, he tells me that he keeps having dreams of World War II and might have been in World War II in his past life. At this point I was just so over it and ready to get in my car and leave. TLDR, I went on a date with the weird guy and he mentioned his ex, insulted me, and said he keeps having dreams of World War II. The baby fever mention is fucking wild. Right. Mind you, we had only been talking for like 2-3 weeks. At least it's not gonna go any further. He's insane. LMAO. Oh yeah. Blocked him as soon as I got in my car. Well, think about how great the next normal dude will be. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more. Have a nice evening.